An unknown lawyer called me one morning. He said I'd inherited millions from a distant relative, but to claim it, I had to follow his instructions. The first task felt like a joke. The second made my hands shake. And by the third, I realized I wasn't chasing an inheritance, I was being dragged into something much darker. I was at the shop early that morning, tightening the brakes on a beat-up mountain bike some college kid had dropped off the night before. The place smelled like WD-40 and burnt coffee, same as always. Nothing in my life screamed special or lucky. Rent was late, my teeth ached from a cavity I couldn't afford to fix, and my bank account balance was a sad double-digit number. That's when my phone rang. Unknown number. Normally, I let those go to voicemail, but for whatever reason, boredom, bad instinct, fate, I picked up. Mr. Martin? A smooth male voice, steady, professional, the kind of voice that belonged on public radio. This is Gregory Brady, attorney with Brady and Knox LLP, calling about a matter of inheritance. I almost laughed. Inheritance? From who? My bike shop owes me money. Does that count? He chuckled lightly. I understand your skepticism, but according to probate filings here in Multnomah County.
Now imagine what happens next. But before that, smash that like button and hit subscribe, cause the craziest part is just getting started.
You are listed as a potential beneficiary of the estate of Arthur Martin. Are you familiar with that name? Arthur? The name triggered something faint. A memory of my dad mentioning a cousin who'd moved north years ago. Vancouver, maybe. I never met him. Definitely never expected him to leave me a dime. Gregory continued. The estate is considerable, several $1 million, in fact. But before we can proceed, the executor requires certain conditions be met. These are instructions left by the deceased, and they are non-negotiable. I nearly dropped my wrench. Hold on, you're saying I just inherited millions? And all I have to do is, what? Sign some papers? A pause. His tone shifted calmer, almost coaxing. Not exactly. The late Mr. Martin wanted to ensure his heirs were trustworthy and discreet. So there are tasks. Think of them as a test of reliability. If you fulfill them, the estate is yours. If you don't, we move on to the next of kin. My bullshit detector went wild. This screamed scam. But then he said, check today's Oregonian legal section. You'll see the probate notice. Case number 225174. You'll find Arthur Martin's name there. During lunch break, I did. And sure enough, there it was in black and white. In the matter of Arthur E. Martin, deceased, Vancouver, BC. Notices to beneficiaries, contact Brady and Knox LLP. That shook me. Back at the shop, I kept replaying the call. A scammer wouldn't bother putting something in the paper, right? Unless the paper itself was fake. But it wasn't. My coworker Lisa teased me about my sugar uncle, but the doubt gnawed. Then came the email from gregory.brady@bradyknox-llp.com with a PDF attachment, a scanned page of a will. It had stamps, notary signatures, the whole legal mess. And my name was on it. Nicholas Martin, nephew once removed. Attached was a note. Your first instruction is simple. Write today's date and the phrase, for Arthur's trust, on a sheet of paper. Take a selfie holding it and send it back. This is to confirm identity for anti-fraud measures. I snorted. A selfie? That was the big test? Still, I propped my phone on a stack of tires, scribbled the date, snapped the pic, hit send. Half a minute later, I got a reply, received. Thank you for your cooperation. A small stipend has been forwarded to your account for your time. I refreshed my banking app, and there it was. A $25 Zelle transfer from BK Trust Admin LLC. Now really froze, because scams don't usually pay you first. That night, over takeout pizza, I told Lisa and my sister Lena. Lena immediately called it a con. Nikki, this is textbook. They lure you in with something small and harmless, then escalate until you're moving money for them. Drop it. Lisa was less sure, but they actually paid him. Scams don't give free money. I wanted to believe Lisa. God, did I want to? Because the idea that I could escape my shitty apartment, my debts, my constant grind, that was intoxicating. Before bed, I checked my phone again. A new email. Well done. Tomorrow, you'll receive further instructions. Be ready by PM. Please remember, confidentiality is essential. This is how we honor Arthur's legacy. I stared at the glowing screen in the dark, heart hammering. Was this real? Was I about to step into money I couldn't even imagine? Or was I walking into the kind of trap you never walk back out of? The next afternoon, exactly at 3 p.m., phone buzzed with another email from Gregory Brady. Subject line, Task 2 confidential. I opened it, palms sweaty. Mr. Martin, the executor requires further assurance of your punctuality and discretion. Please purchase a $100 Safeway gift card. Place it in a sealed envelope with your signature across the seal. Deliver it to the designated courier at Powell's Books, Burnside location, beneath the central clock, at 3:30 sharp. The courier will identify themselves by asking, "Is it a good day for reading?" You will reply, "Always. Do not disclose this exchange to anyone. Read it twice." A gift card? At Powell's? It felt childish or cult-like. I called Lena. "Okay, you're gonna call me crazy." "But already am," she snapped. "Nick, this is exactly what I warned you about. Nobody tests heirs with gift cards. That's a scammer's wet dream. But they already sent me money. $25. Why pay me first if it's a scam?" She sighed. "Because that's how they hook you. They make you trust them, then they bleed you dry." "Don't do it." I hung up without answering. Because honestly, what was the harm? Worst case scenario, I lose $100. Best case, I'm one step closer to millions. So I drove to Safeway, bought the card, stuffed it in a plain envelope, and scribbled my signature across the seal. My heart was racing the whole time, like I was planning a heist. At 3:28, I parked near Powell's. The big brick building loomed over Burnside, tourists swarming in and out with tote bags full of books. I stood under the clock, envelope sweating in my hand. At 3:31, a young woman on a red bicycle coasted up. She wore a green DoorDash jacket, helmet still strapped on, messenger bag slung across her shoulder. She looked like any other courier in the city. She dismounted, locked her bike, glanced around, then approached me. "Is it a good day for reading?" Her tone was casual, but her eyes sharp, scanning me. I swallowed. "Always." She smiled, held out her hand. I gave her the envelope. She slipped it into her bag, pulled out a clipboard with the generic-looking delivery form, and asked me to sign. I scribbled my name, barely legible, adrenaline flooding my veins. "Thank you," she said. And then, as quickly as she arrived, she was gone, pedaling back into the river of traffic. I stood there, dumbfounded. That night, I refreshed my bank app. My jaw dropped. $500. Direct deposit. Same, BK Trust Admin LLC. Lisa nearly spit out her soda when I showed her. "See? They paid you. Dude, maybe this is legit after all." But Lena wouldn't budge. "Nick, open your eyes. They're grooming you. First, it's a $100 gift card. Next it's $5,000. Then it's 10. They'll keep upping the stakes until you're laundering money for some cartel." I wanted to laugh it off, but the way my stomach twisted told me she might not be wrong. Still, the $500 sat there, glowing like a promise. For someone living paycheck to paycheck, it was like oxygen. Later that night, another email came through. "Well done. The executor is impressed. Tomorrow, you will advance to the next stage. Please ensure you are available at 5:00 p.m. You will be contacted with further instructions. Remember, this is for Arthur's legacy. Confidentiality is essential." I read it 3 times, then closed my laptop. Lisa nudged me on the couch. "So, you gonna keep playing their little game?" I didn't answer, because I already knew the truth. I was in too deep to walk away, and whatever came next, I had to see it through. The next day, at exactly 5 p.m., another email landed. "Mr. Martin, your cooperation has been noted. You are now entrusted with an essential task. Please arrive at the SE Water Avenue parking lot, near the riverfront. Look for a white U-Haul van. The rear doors will be unlocked. Inside you will find 3 sealed envelopes. Each must be delivered to a separate address this evening. Do not tamper with them. Do not delay. Once complete, you will be compensated accordingly." My gut twisted. 3 envelopes? U-Haul vans? This wasn't gift cards anymore. Still, by 6. I was pulling into that cracked asphalt lot by the river. The U-Haul sat there, bland and forgettable, like a background prop. No driver, no plates I could clearly read. I glanced around, joggers along the river path. A couple arguing near a food truck. Nobody paying attention. With shaky hands, I opened the van's rear doors. There they were. 3 manila envelopes, thick, each with a typed label. Lloyd District Business Plaza Mailroom, Alberta Dental Office. Drop box, downtown lobby drop. Morrison Toweri picked them up. Heavier than normal letters, maybe half a pound each. Something solid inside, like a stack of cards or small metal plates. I threw them on the passenger seat and slammed the doors shut, heart pounding like I just robbed a bank. Driving felt surreal. Portland's streets blurred past neon signs, food carts, headlights bouncing off wet pavement. Every red light felt like a spotlight. Every glance from another driver felt suspicious. The first stop was the Lloyd District. Business Plaza, beige concrete, mostly empty at dusk. I slipped inside through a side door, found the mailroom, dropped the envelope in a steel bin marked incoming, quick, easy. The second stop was Alberta, a small dental office tucked between a yoga studio and a taco joint. Their after-hours drop slot swallowed the envelope with a metallic clunk. By the third, downtown Morrison Tower, my nerves were shredded. I walked into the lobby, acting casual, clutching the last envelope like it was radioactive. The security guard barely looked up from his phone. I slid the envelope into a plastic tray at the front desk and walked out, heart hammering. Back in my car, I finally let out the breath I'd been holding. And that's when I saw it. Across the street, under a broken streetlight, sat a white Toyota Camry, windows tinted dark, engine running. I froze. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe just some random commuter, but I swear felt eyes on me. I pulled out, trying to act normal. In my rearview mirror, the Camry eased into traffic behind me. 2 blocks. 3. At every turn, it stayed back. Not too close, but never disappearing. By the time I reached the Hawthorne Bridge, my palms were slick on the wheel. I took a sudden left instead of crossing. The Camry followed. Shit, I muttered. My heart was sprinting. Finally, I pulled into a crowded Fred Meyer parking lot, weaving past carts and pedestrians. After a tense minute, I checked my mirror again. The Camry was gone. Or maybe it just melted into the background, waiting. When I got home, my sister Lena was pacing the kitchen. "Where the hell have you been?" she snapped. I tossed my keys on the counter. "Running errands." She narrowed her eyes. "For your inheritance, right?" Jesus, Nick, do you even hear yourself? You're dropping envelopes in random buildings like some kind of mule. I wanted to argue, but my phone buzzed. A new notification. Deposit received. $2,000 from BK Trust Admin LLC. I held it up like proof. See, if it was fake, why keep paying me? Lena groaned. Because they've got you on the hook. And next time, it won't be envelopes. It'll be something worse. Her words rattled around my head all night. But the truth? That $2,000 in my account drowned out every warning bell. And deep down, I already knew I wasn't walking away. 2 days passed without a word. I almost convinced myself it was over, that maybe the executor had decided I wasn't cut out for their little game. But then, at exactly PM on Friday, another email appeared. Subject, task for critical. I opened it, and my stomach sank. Mr. Martin, your reliability has impressed the executor. The next step is sensitive. Proceed to the Chase Bank branch on SE 39th Avenue after hours. At the rear service entrance, locate a red firebox. Behind it is a key. Use this key to unlock the gray service cabinet by the row of ATMs. Place the sealed envelope inside and close it. Do not linger. Do not be seen. Attached was a map, with a red circle drawn over the back lot of the Chase branch. This wasn't errands anymore. This was straight up illegal. I called Lena immediately. "Listen, they want me to drop something at a damn bank." "A bank, Lena? Like, is this money laundering? What the hell am I doing?" Her voice shot through the phone like ice water. "Nick, you're out of your mind. This isn't inheritance. This is a felony. You need to stop now." But then, out of the 2,000 already sitting in my account, the cavity I could finally fix, the rent I could pay, the whisper of millions still dangling out there like bait. So I told her I'd think about it, and I lied. At PM, I drove to the Chase branch. The lot was mostly empty, just a few street lamps buzzing. The ATMs glowed green in the dark, humming softly. My heart pounded so hard it made my ears ring. I crept around to the back, where the dumpsters sat, and there it was, the red firebox, just like the email said. I opened it. Sure enough, a small brass key taped inside. My hands were shaking as I walked over to the gray service cabinet. I slid the key in, turned it. The lock clicked open. Inside was just an empty steel compartment, cold and clean. I slipped the envelope inside. Just as I did, something rattled, a faint metallic chime, like a tiny device shifting. A tracker? A bug? My breath caught in my throat. I slammed it shut, locked it, and spun around. That's when I saw it. Across the lot, headlights flicked on. A car idled under the lamppost. White. Toyota. Camry. The same one. Always the same one. I bolted for my car, fumbling my keys, nearly dropping them. My hands were slick with sweat. I jammed the ignition, peeled out of the lot, tires squealing. In the mirror, the Camry followed, not speeding, not chasing, just there. 2 blocks. 3. It stayed behind me, steady as a shadow. I tried to lose it, cutting through side streets, looping around neighborhoods I knew well. But every time, it reappeared. Sometimes a block behind, sometimes 2. By the time I reached my apartment, I was trembling. I parked, killed the engine, sat there in the dark, staring at the rearview mirror. The Camry was gone. Or maybe it had just parked further down the street, waiting. When I finally stumbled inside, Lena was still awake, scrolling her phone. She looked up, saw my face, and froze. "You did it, didn't you?" she whispered. I didn't answer, but I didn't have to. My phone buzzed. A notification. Deposit received. $5,000. Lena shook her head in disbelief. "They're buying you, Nick. Don't you get it? Every dollar they send is a chain around your neck." I collapsed on the couch, staring at the glowing numbers in my account, equal parts exhilarated and sick. She was right, but so was the money. And the scariest part, I knew I wasn't stopping. I don't even know what pushed me over the edge. Maybe it was Lena's face when she saw that $5,000 land in my account. Maybe it was the way the Camry kept appearing like a ghost, slipping in and out of my life. Or maybe it was the simple fact that I couldn't stand not knowing anymore. That night, Lena cornered me in the kitchen. "Nick, if you won't stop, at least look. We need to know what the hell you're carrying around for these people." I hesitated. Opening one was breaking the rule. They'd said it a dozen times. Do not tamper. Do not open. But my curiosity was already winning. I grabbed the last envelope from my jacket pocket. Thick, heavy, my signature still scrawled across the flap. My heart pounded as I tore it open. Inside wasn't legal paperwork. Not even close. A stack of laminated cards, each with QR codes printed in neat rows. A slip of paper with login credentials, random strings of numbers and letters. And at the bottom a small USB drive taped to an index card that simply said, "For compliance use only." Lena picked one of the cards up, holding it under the kitchen light. "Nick, these aren't wills. These look like crypto wallets, or codes for them." I felt the blood drain from my face. Crypto laundering, gift card scams, whatever it wasn't inheritance. And then my phone buzzed. A new text message from an unknown number. A photo. The front of our building. My car parked outside. The shot was fresh. I could tell from the light in the window that it was right now. The message underneath read, "This is the last step. Tomorrow, Pioneer Courthouse Square. Bring what remains. Come alone." I dropped the phone like it burned me. Lena's face went pale. "Nick, they're watching us." I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Every part of me wanted to run, to dump the envelopes in the river, to disappear. But another part, the greedy, desperate, stupid part whispered, "What if this really is the last step? What if the millions are real?" I didn't know which part of me was louder anymore. Pioneer Courthouse Square was packed that Saturday afternoon. Street performers, tourists with cameras, people sipping lattes on the steps, normal Portland chaos. I stood in the middle of it with my jacket zipped tight, the last 2 envelopes heavy in my pocket. Every sound made my nerves spike. A car backfiring, someone laughing too loud, the rumble of buses along the curb. And then, from the edge of the crowd, he appeared. Tall, gray suit, clean-shaven, the kind of man you'd expect in a courtroom, not a public plaza. He walked straight toward me, smiling, not rushing, just steady, like he already owned the space. "Mr. Martin," he said, extending a hand. His voice was smooth, calm, familiar. I recognized it instantly. Gregory Brady, the attorney. I froze. My mouth went dry. "You've done well," he said softly. "You've proven reliable, discreet, everything Arthur wanted." He reached into his briefcase and pulled out a heavy-looking document folder, sealed with a bright red stamp. He handed it to me. The cover read, "Certificate of Beneficiary." "This," he said, "is your legacy." I stared at it. My hands trembled. The crowd bustled around us like nothing was happening, like this wasn't the climax of weeks of madness. I wanted to open it right there, to see proof. But something in his eyes stopped me. They weren't warm. They weren't kind. They were flat, calculating, like he was watching for a reaction. And then, just over his shoulder, I saw it. Parked by the curb, the white Toyota Camry, engine running, dark windows. My stomach dropped. I looked back at Gregory. "What's really in this?" I whispered. He tilted his head, almost amused. "That depends on whether you want the truth, or the story." Before I could answer, he turned, merged into the crowd, and was gone. Just like that, I stood frozen in the square, the folder heavy in my hands. I didn't chase him. I didn't even open it, because suddenly, I wasn't sure I wanted to know. Later that night, I got home and found a letter slipped under my door. Official letterhead, real law firm in downtown Portland. It read, "Mr. Nicholas Martin, you are requested for questioning in an active investigation involving fraudulent transfers and attempted asset misappropriation. Please contact our office immediately." Clipped to it was a grainy photo of me at the Chase ATM cabinet, envelope in hand. I sat on the couch staring at it, my chest hollow. Was I just a pawn in some elaborate scam? Or had I really been this close to inheriting something real and thrown it away? I'll probably never know, but one thing I do know, some doors, once you open them, never close. And I think I just opened the wrong one.